Welcome back to another reading and correcting with me, Kindar, the Tiger Writes, and Ty, the Tiger Supervisor. These are where I read a chapter from one of my books and correct it as I go. If you want to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch. And if you're looking to support me, that is on my Patreon. Today we are doing chapter 55 of A Series of Death. Trembor stuck to the wall to avoid getting lost again. The thought this was an elaborate ploy to make him underestimate the opposition crossed his mind, but was quickly dismissed. It no longer mattered. One or the entire city, they were all going to die for threatening his wolf. Once on the other side of the building, the light from the open door guided him. He paused inside only long enough to locate Marlot, sprawled on the floor at his brother's feet, with the hare standing between them and Trembor. Then he ran at the hare. He didn't care for what he might have wanted to say. He'd hurt his wolf, his Marlot, and he was going to suffer for it. The hare blocked the kick, having to step back under the force of the blow, and Trembor felt the reinforcement on the mottled gray jacket. So it was more than a look-alike for Protector combat armor. Somehow the hare had gotten his hand on the real thing. Trevor had seen one when an uncle who was in the Protectors visited years ago. The hare returned the attack with punches that Trevor dodged, and Trevor's hand flew and connected with the surprised hare's face, who'd kept his defenses low to block kicks. Trevor smirked as the hare stepped back and ran a hand over the cuts on his cheek. They weren't deep. The hare was fast, but maybe this would show him he was outclassed. The hare looked at the blood on his hand and smiled. Finally, he threw himself at the lion, and Trevor backed a few steps in surprise at the ferocity. Hares ran. Everyone knew that. Hares were prey that you chased, not defended against. The hits that connected hurt more due to their precision than force. The male knew where to hit to make it count, and anytime Trembor tried to overwhelm the hare with strength, he was out of reach with quick steps and a few jabs to remind the lion not to underestimate his opponent. Trembor had to slow, watch, evaluate. This was like a fight against Marlot, but to an elevated degree. He had to make each strike count, make them the ones that would break bones if he could just get them to connect properly. A kick glanced off the hare's shoulder, and he came back with a volley. Trembor dodged, letting himself fall, placing a hand on the floor for support. He kicked out at his opponent's head, but the hare was already out of reach. With a growl, Trembor straightened. Just give up. You can't win. Why wouldn't the hare do that? Prey only fought back so much, and never to win, just to escape. You don't even know what my win parameters are. The hare replied, stepping around Trembor, who turned one leg, waiting for the attack. Something about getting Marlot to kill you. The wolf had his chance. He smiled. Your wolf had his chance. He touched the 3 bloody lines on his cheek. You, on the other hand, I think are properly motivated. He came at Trembor with a flurry of punches, and the lion blocked most of them, and his strike that connected struck something painful, some nerves or an already tender spot. He shouldered the hare away, using his superior mass, and ensured it was also away from Trembor and his brother. A quick glance at his lion told him he was still unconscious. He had to be unconscious. Any other possibilities were unbearable. The hare was proving tougher, better than Trembor expected. He'd heard stories. Even Marlot had gone up against the hare at the gym and lost. But Trembor was a better predator, stronger, older, craftier. This was turning into a reminder there was always someone better, and that, occasionally, they weren't bigger or stronger than you. He could stretch this until Marlot woke. The two of them could take the hare down, kill him, and feast on the body. They hide him as he pulled away from the latest attack. Trembor had gone for dodging, but even that hadn't been as successful as he'd like. His left leg had gained a tingle after the last strike. That couldn't be good. I wish I'd fought you, the hare said. Why? So you could have died sooner? So I could tell if you are even trying to kill me. Trembor bared his teeth. Walk closer and find out. How long until Marlot woke up? I think I'm going to use something better tested. I'll start with your brother. Trembor didn't swallow the growl, but kept himself from lounging at the hare. He was trying to goad him into making a mistake. All this talk of wanting to die was just that. If he'd been serious about it, he would have bared his throat and let this end. No? The hare smiled. Well, it said you cared about your family. I guess he doesn't know you as well as he thought. But then again, you two didn't talk all that much, did you? How do you get mated to someone who doesn't even know about your trauma? Trembor froze. What was he talking about? No. How did he know about that? Let's see if the wolf really matters to you then. Trembor's roar echoed in his ear as he was mid-leap and landing on the hare, crashing them both to the floor. The hare fought to get out from under him, but Trembor had one arm pinned under a knee. The hare fought harder, but he wasn't the first smaller and squirmier prey Trembor had fought. He grabbed the other arm and shoved it down, slamming his other knee on it hard enough. He didn't understand why the hare didn't scream. Even with the padding, he had to have felt it. The hare laughed, and Trembor punched him, snapping his head to the side, leaving a line of blood on the floor. You think this is going to stop me? Another punch. The head snapped in the other direction, more blood on the floor. You said you'd kill me, the hare said, glaring while laughing. What are you waiting for? Do you want me to desecrate that precious wolf of yours? Do you have any idea the things I've been taught to do to another person? Shut up! Trembor punched him again. I'm going to leave him so broken what Gorek did to you will seem like tender love in comparison. With a scream, Trembor raised his hand, claws out. The idea, the simple implication, his wolf would feel something like what he'd gone through couldn't be tolerated. He tried to bring his hand down, rip the throat open, prevent him from ever suggesting something like that again, but his arm wouldn't move. Only then did the presence next to him register, and he couldn't think of what to do. Part of him had expected more enemies, but they hadn't shown. Now, if he split his attention, the hare would slip free to touch his wolf. He put more effort into bringing the arm down, kill the hare, then deal with the other opponent. The grunt of effort that came as a result made him pause. He knew that grunting, knew it from fighting and more pleasurable endeavors. He looked up as he took a deep breath. The wolf smiled at him, the strain keeping his arm from coming down visible. Hi. Trembor tried to bring his hand down, but the wolf kept him from doing so. Don't give him the satisfaction, the wolf said, putting more of his weight against the arm. No, Trembor said, trying to understand why his wolf was doing this, not wanting to believe the implication he was drawing. I'm protecting you, he protested, and part of him wondered why he hadn't included Bo in the statement. I know. You don't get to be the only one to protect the other. He couldn't be. I'm not your thing. I'm sorry I ever made you feel that way, Trem. Even if it was only once. You never deserved that. I was thoughtless. Then let me be that for once. It isn't who you are. You're my lion, the beacon of the law, of doing things the right way. I'm the screw-up, not you. He's left a dozen bodies to rot that I know of. He has to pay for them. You told me that. You told me there is a right way to do things. This is me listening to you, Trem. I want us to do this the right way, to turn him over to be processed and punished. Trevor wanted to tell his wolf he was wrong, that was the lion. That was the lion he'd used to know, who had deserved to be loved. Now he was tarnished. He'd done things he shouldn't, that the old him wouldn't do. You two are impossible. The hare coughed and spat blood. You won't kill me for him, and you won't let him kill me for you. He sighed tiredly. I thought you two loved one another. You don't know anything about what it means to love someone, Nikal. Marlot snapped. If you did, you'd understand this is something I'm doing because I love Trembor. Because there is nothing I'd want more than, because there's nothing I'd want more, because there's nothing I want more than to rip you apart right now for what you almost did to him. You are going to pay for your crimes. You're not escaping them by ending up in our stomachs. The hare let out a weak laugh. It's never going to happen. They aren't going to let it happen. You'll see I'm not interested in whatever your stories you've made up this time. You're sick, and that's all there is to it. Marlowe smiled at him, and Trembor felt like things would be all right again. Can I let go of your arm? It's starting to get tough to keep you from killing him. He almost did it. He almost gave into the tenderness, the apology, the words. They meant nothing. He was just looking to get his claws in deeper. The wolf's eyes widened in surprise. What? What did I say? What did I do? Trevor ground his teeth. All this, it was just another ploy for the wolf to get his way. Trem, talk to me, please. I love you. I know what Gorek did to you, and if I did anything right now to make you feel like that, I am sorry. You what? How could the wolf know? He stood and was immediately thrown against Marlot. Not this time. The wolf growled and moved out from under Trembor as the lion fell off balance. He caught himself and put his feet under him. Marlot was already chasing the hare, that Nikal, who kept ahead of him in spite of a limp. Trembor ran after them as the hare stopped and spun, the kick catching Marlot in the shoulder and staggering him to the side. Trembor was between them before the hare could strike again, forcing him back with a series of kicks. Marlot moved around them until he was behind the hare, and then their eyes met. Trembor smiled. He wanted this. He and his wolf fighting alongside. I don't need to each other. Fighting alongside. He wanted the pleasure, the hardship. He wouldn't let the wolf hurt him, but he would give him a chance. Trevor launched himself at the hare, kicking and punching, taking hits, giving Marlot the openings to strike, striking hard any time the hare shifted his focus. Despite this, the hare mostly kept him in check, blocking, dodging, and getting in far too many hits for Trembor's liking. It was like he hadn't been trying when he fought the lion. Then Marlot got in a punch at the hare's back, and he was slow in reacting, allowing Trembor to land a kick in his side. It didn't bring him down, but it was an indication he was slowing. He had more stamina than Trembor had expected of a hare, but he still had limits. Marlot distracted the hare, and Trembor kicked him into the wolf's arm, who almost caught him, only to be left with the gray jacket and nothing else, before yelping as his legs were kicked out from under him. Trembor pounced with a snarl before the hare was up. No one hurt his wolfie. He rolled, and Trembor was sent to land next to Marlot. He wanted to check on him, ask if he was okay, but he stood as Marlot struggled and ran at the hare. He kicked, and the hare blocked, but each time he had to take a step back. When Trembor miscalculated, the hare threw himself, claws out, but not as fast as before. They dug into his side, and Trembor grabbed the arm and threw the hare over him. He turned in time to see the hare land on his back, and before he'd caught his breath, Marlot was on him, pinning his arms. It's over, Nikal. Marlot clawed the hare's shirt into strip. Trembor stood next to them, placed a hand on Marlot's shoulder, squeezing it. Are you okay? Your leg? It hurts, but it's not broken. I'm sorry I doubted you, Trembor said, fighting the urge to claim this was still the wolf playing him. Marlot paused the cutting. I screwed up. I'm going to have to show you I meant it when I said I don't want to hurt you. You are not my possession. He fell silent, and Nikal watched them, surprisingly still for someone who'd fought so hard not to be caught only a few seconds ago. Gorek, did he hurt you? Trembor didn't want to know, but he had to. If Marlot had met the lion, there was no telling what he'd done. The wolf shook his head and went back to making strips. He was still in the seduction part of the time by the time Nikal killed him. Marlot paused, and Trembor reeled from the news. He is good, the lion said. I saw the damage he did. I should have realized what I'd get into, but when he told me he was interested in me, when he pressed against me, I would have given myself to him if you hadn't shown up. I didn't. Marlot hit his head. Had Marlot hit his head? Marlot chuckled. Your memory intruded just then, and I couldn't stand the male behind me not being you. I kicked him out. And he left? He played up how understanding and kind of a male he was, and that he was sorry for being unable to resist me, that he'd be waiting until I was ready. He was quiet. How much of that did you see, Nikal? Enough. I'd have killed you both if you hadn't stopped him. The hare answered flatly, and Tremor growled. You certainly let him know how pissed you were. The hare tried to shrug. I'm not sorry, if that's what you're hoping for. I know I shouldn't have killed the others, since I was never going to eat them, but him? Even once I'd worked out my anger, he deserved to die. Yeah, but you still have to pay for him. It's not going to happen, the hare said matter-of-factly. Whether you kill me or not, I won't be caged long enough to make it through the system. Then let me take you in. You've got nothing to lose, right? The hare sighed. You don't know what you're doing. Marlot chuckled. It's kind of a thing with me. Fine. I'll end this based on your victory parameter, and I'll have to deal with the consequences. That's what it means to be part of society, Nikal. Marlot grabbed onto Trembor to pull himself up. Trembor kept his gaze on the hare. He didn't trust him to stick to their agreement. The instant he twitched, Trembor would gore him. When he remained on the ground, Marlot seemed surprised. Hands before you, he said. No, I can rip your throat out that way. The hare replied. You want me to tie them behind me. He turned on his stomach, placed his hand behind him, fingers interlaced. It had been years since Trembor had seen that submission position. It was used to restrain violent pack members when they weren't going to kill them. Those strips aren't going to hold them, he said, and looked around for something stronger, and saw his brother still unconscious. Missed what the hare and Marlot said. Go see to him, Marlot said, not holding Nikal by the arms. I should stay with you while you take him in, Trembor said without hesitation. If he tries anything, you'll need me. He won't. Trust him? Marlot looked at the hare. He admitted defeat. I didn't, the hare said. I altered the victory parameters. Still, you might change them again. Trem, your brother needs you. I'll be okay. Once I've processed him, I'll head to your place. We have things we should talk about. Trembor looked to his brother, then Nikal. Marl, if the hare talks about my brother being here, I don't know if you knew, but my brother's in his own spot of troubles. Marlot looked at the hare. I have nothing to say about him. He served his purpose. You'll even find a slate explaining how I planted the evidence incriminating your brother. Trembor stared at the hare. What are you talking about? The crime your brother is accused of. I did it. No, it was. I did it, the hare stated, and Marlot looked at Trembor, ears canted questioningly. He had to be lying. Why would you do that? The hare smiled. I think you know very well. The wolf wasn't the only one who needed to understand something. Trem, are you okay? Fuck no, he wasn't. Not only had he broken the law for nothing, but he'd also pointed the guilt at an innocent group. Well, innocent of that, but their guilt on something else didn't make what he'd done right. He swallowed the guilt and the desire to throw up. I'm okay. We can talk about it after this. The hare sighed. I can't believe you two are finally talking. I was starting to doubt I'd get you there. It shouldn't have been this hard. It's life, Marlot replied, heading to the exit, while Trembor heading to his brother. People fuck up, then we fix it. But you weren't fixing anything, the hare exclaimed, and Trembor looked over his shoulder to see the hare looking back over at his. I fixed this, he said proudly. Trembor shook his head in disbelief. The male was delusional. Bo groaned as Trembor searched his pocket and found the slate. The hare hadn't lied. He could have lied about what was on it, but why would he bother? He was caught. Trembor, Bo slurred as Trembor stared at the slate, the undeniable evidence his brother was innocent and that he had framed someone else. You really like that wolf, don't you? What did you see? Trembor asked, looking his brother over. So you have him? What we're doing? I am taking you home, Bo. He didn't have to hand the slate over. That crime family would pay for the cub's death, so his brother was still free. He didn't have to tell anyone what he'd done. He pocketed the slate and cut the rope holding his brother to the chair. I'm not into this, Bo said, slumping forward. No, you aren't, bro. No, you aren't, bro. Trembor pulled an arm under his brother and lifted him to his feet. Come on. You need to sleep this off in your own bed. And that concludes chapter 55 of A Series of Death. If you are enjoying this, please leave a like. If you want to know when the next chapter is going to be up, subscribe and hit the bell. If you want to read the book as well as the other in the series, they are available at all major e-retailer. If you are looking to support me, that is on my Patreon, where you can also get access to basically everything else I've written. And if you want to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch. The links are in the note, and with that, I shall wish you a good day.